test run of an idea. I need to remember that. But so I recently got into video editing for the heck of it. Just very simple stuff. And when it comes down to it, I really like it. I do it on my phone, which is stupid of me because I should do it on my computer, but I don't have the same stuff on my computer. Also, I wish I could do more in life. I think that's what this is all about. I think 90% of me starting a YouTube channel and starting the dreams of a vlog channel or whatever would be me trying to get more out of life and being able to not exactly give people what they want, but maybe to encourage people to do more, encourage people to go further with their own life. I think that's 90% of why I do what I do. I do a lot of Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, digital media type stuff. I do a lot of that stuff because I love it, but also because I can get more out of life doing it. And it's just such a weird idea to know that all I want to do is get more out of life. Like recently I just quit a job because honestly I was bored at that job, but I quit the job because the boss literally made it easier for me to quit the job than he did for me to try to explain my situation. At the time, my car had died. I had a 2002 PT Cruiser. It died on the side of the road. It has troubles. It's had troubles. And basically, I took that and I went to my boss and I said, hey, my car died, and if I don't get it fixed soon, I'm not going to have a way to work, so I've either got to quit or we've got to figure something out. And he gave me one scenario that would have worked if, you know, my family could have afforded gas on it. And basically in giving me that scenario, after I said but, and just having to say that my family can't afford gas, which is terrible because we can sometimes and we can't others, but we can barely afford to fix the car. How could we afford gas for it? And as soon as I said but, he was like, so you just want to quit. It sounds like you're just making up excuses for yourself, but the truth is you just want to quit. To be fair, like I literally walked. I was like, okay, I quit. I walked out of the building. I literally bawled and drove around for like hour and a half because I didn't really want to quit that job, but he made it so much easier to quit the job than he did make it for me to assist my situation. And then later he had one of my coworkers who was also a assistant manager. He had her text me like not even like 3 minutes after I had driven away, and I'm like bawling and I'm like trying to read the text, and it basically said, are you sure you want to quit? Here's another option on how we could do it. And I was like, no, if you're gonna tell me that I want to quit and then try to get me back for zero reason, I'm gonna quit. Makes sense? Yeah, it made sense to me too. And honestly, it just kind of baffles me, the fact that, you know, like, a place can have such a bad turnover rate. Even like that place had a bad enough turnover rate that that the other employees would literally talk about it. They literally talked about how they could never keep good workers, and I mean, that's an issue. Like, I go to other stores that are exactly like it, and like, I'm talking like owned by the same people, and you know, they don't say anything about their turnover rate, and I see people working there for months on end, and it's the same people, and I never see new people, which means that they don't have to hire, which means that their turnover rate's doing pretty good. And I just think it's kind of ridiculous in part to, you know, have the idea that your turnover rate is so bad that your employees talk about it. Like, seriously, like, why, at what point is your boss not good at keeping people? Like, what causes a boss to not be good at keeping people on board or at a job? Like, that's really what I'm wondering here. Like, obviously I left. I mean, who else left that was, you know, good? You know, you can only put so many quotation marks on that. But, like, what number of people had to leave for people to literally work there and say, basically, we have a bad turnover rate? Or is it not the people they hired, but the people they work for? That's where the real question comes in. And like, I feel like you should question your own turnover rate. I think the company, the guys at the top should question the turnover rate of that store. Because I know they walk in all the time. People were literally telling me, hey, it's a big wig, you know, like they basically own the company. And I'm like, well, that's good for them, but at the same time, why aren't they looking into the turnover rate of this store? Because obviously it's bad if you keep having to hire people and fire people, and you don't have a person to do this certain job when you should. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And you know, it's just crazy to think that after all the hard work that I tried to put into, you know, the scenario of everything, it still didn't pay off in the end. Like, my boss didn't care about the hard work I put in. He just cared about how he thought I felt right then. He only cared about the idea that I wanted to quit. And that's just baffling to me. It's just utterly baffling to me that he would care so little about me working there and fire me. Like, it's just so pointless. You know? It's just so crazy to me in general that he would care so little about me and my work. Like, and to be fair, he was only there a quarter of the time I worked. But also, you know, I put a lot of work into, you know, learning the system and training really quickly and being able to be on time and doing all this stuff. And then in the end, he was like, you just don't want to work here. You know, that's just kind of weird to me. It's just kind of weird to me that he's like, you just don't want to work here. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, this is a boring job, to be fair. It was a convenience store. You know, all you do is stand there, scan items, and that's about it. Stand there, scan items, stock items. Like, I used to work at a Chick-fil-A, and honestly, working at that job was 10 times more interesting. Like, yeah, it was still take orders, you know, give out food, whatever, you know, stock items, but like, there was more to it. There were more people involved. There was more, you know, there was a more reason to like that job at the Chick-fil-A than there ever was to like that job at that convenience store ever. You know? It just doesn't make sense to me sometimes. People don't make sense to me sometimes. It's just stupid. Yeah, it's just stupid. And honestly, it just kind of kills me that after like a month of working there, like, and putting a lot of effort into it, and putting a lot of, you know, focus into the idea of working at that job, that at the end it was, you know, maybe I didn't want to work there, but to my point is the fact that my boss didn't exactly care for what I did. Obviously, he wouldn't have told me straight to my face, you know, you don't really want to work here, if he actually cared about my job and what I did working there. And that just kind of messes with me as a person, because you'd think when somebody's working hard and putting a lot of effort into something, you know, you'd at least get, and this sounds terrible, but you'd at least get a little affirmation. And I did from some people, but the boss was so, you know, I'm the boss, you know, cold, disheartening in the end, and it just kind of hurts. Now, like I said, this is just an idea to start a YouTube channel. It's not going to be me ranting every time. It probably will be, but it won't be. And I'm probably going to upload like every other day, maybe a little bit more in between there. So, and you know, I can't control what happens, but honestly, I put everything to God at this point. And, you know, if this YouTube channel takes off, I'll do what he wants with it. I'll give it to him, and it's just going to be crazy moving forward. It's going to be crazy moving backwards. It's just going to be wild. I do edit these myself, so don't laugh or play fun when, you know, you see like this massive cut, because if it's a massive cut, I probably mean it to be there. And if you hear audio cut out, or if you hear audio that shouldn't be there, it's probably because I'm just recording this on my phone, which kind of sucks. But during the recording of this, I've been looking at getting cameras, mics, some stands, some other stuff, so I can set up and, you know, kind of do my own thing. But yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.